The following program is paid for by the Charlie Butler team. Looking for tips on selling your home? Tune into the Charlie Butler Show right here on WGBF AM every Sunday at 9 a.m. The Charlie Butler Show, where your questions get answers. Charlie guarantees it.
Good Sunday morning, Tri-State. This is the Charlie Butler Show, Charlie Butler Real Estate Show. I always forget to say.
Yep, the real estate.
I'm Charlie Butler with his menagerie here. It was just David Crow and I for years, and then David, added some people that he could explain things to, so you can see Candace is distracted over
she's not even paying attention.
I've had
didn't
this.
get that.
I didn't. I'm sorry. Gosh, it was probably a good one.
Charlie said that I had to add some.
We added
new
some
guest host here that I could explain things to.
Oh, thanks.
Yes. I have a
Break
heart
it
of
down,
a teacher,
talk
so I love
thank you,
explaining.
David. Thanks. I was just over
And
here
she
thinking
lets
about
you.
what I was going to
Okay,
she lets me.
That's the key word. She lets you.
And so, Candace, how was it? What was it that David said for those that don't listen every week? What was it he said to you guys? Or
For you
one of you
ladies, let me explain to you ladies or something.
didn't
It
want
was
you
something
confused.
very, right. Because Kylene and I were trying to figure out what color to paint our fingernails.
Right.
We just were so overwhelmed.
Like we were so
by
overwhelmed.
of
All
it.
we could do is bat our little
But for you
eyelashes.
ladies, not to confuse you
Yes,
ladies.
yes,
That's what it was.
yes.
He said. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, thanks,
Yeah.
Charlie.
It was. Thanks, David.
Kylie, let's talk about batting eyelashes.
Yeah.
Made me
We
think
couldn't fight our way out of a wet
Made me
paper
think of that
sack.
one. Made me think of that one realtor who will remain
Oh my
unnamed
gosh.
that you did a deal with that you told me about, Candace.
Kittens.
Oh! It looked like kittens were glued to her eyelids. It was terrible. It was awful.
Should we take a poll of guys like that? Like, do guys like to see
You know what's
those
sad?
fluffy things?
I
on
know of
girls'
that
eyes?
closing.
Yes,
I was
you
there.
do. You were there. Yes, it was.
The
Yeah.
realtor remained nameless, but I had no clue when you started that story, Charlie. But when she said that, I'm like, I was there.
It was so distracting. I was like, how does she open her eyes with those on there? I don't understand. It was
My eyes start tearing up when I look at somebody like that. And
Yeah.
I'm just like,
That's exactly.
So, Jonathan, do
Yeah.
you wear eyelashes like that often? Or
I don't know. I'm just saying, if I'm looking at somebody like that, makes me tear up.
Like mascara
yeah.
is one thing, but like if you can fly away, like I don't know.
Yeah, they were definitely. It was distracting. And
So anyway, I guess we should get back at the ranch here.
Back at the ranch. Happy Sunday morning, Tri-State.
trails
That's a heck of an entry here today.
So we'll start. To my left here is David Crow. I always say that like people can see
I know
where you're at.
I
You
know.
can be sitting.
We paint the picture.
Yeah.
There we
Yeah.
go.
To my left is David Crow from Churchill Mortgage. Good morning, David.
Good morning, Charlie. Good morning, folks. Happy Sunday morning.
Right next to David is the Charlie Butler team social media director is Kylena Page.
Good morning, everybody.
And we don't want to think that Kylena only does social media. She's multi-talented. She is also a very, very good realtor.
I can understand things.
You understand?
There's layers.
Yeah, sometimes.
Layers.
Peel back the onion, David.
Sometimes. Our guest today, who we've already heard from briefly, is Jonathon Weaver. Jonathon, for those that don't know, long time in politics here as county assessor, city council, and we're going to have an announcement about that here shortly. So, good morning, Jonathon.
Hey, good morning. Thanks for having us. Me.
Thanks for coming. And I don't know who else Jonathan's got here.
I know.
Go with somebody.
Mouse in his pocket.
But, and at the very end here, the one who has not paid no attention this morning, the Butler DeArmond team, or Butler DeArmond Group's president, Charlie Butler. Charlie DeArmond.
I mean, I don't
Whoever
even
the hell
have to
you-
pay
whoever you
attention
are.
because you're not even talking to me. I'm
I
not
knew
even
that was
here.
Candace DeArmond. Good morning.
Candace DeArmond.
Good morning,
Good
Candace.
morning.
What's her name?
Whatever your name
What is
is.
it? Can you say it one more time?
Charlie Candace DeArmond, something like that.
Candace
Well,
Network.
vodka
CNC.
and Red Bull on a Saturday evening I'll do for you.
Yeah.
And
pixie
yeah,
stick.
we were talking about vodka and Red Bull earlier, weren't we?
That's what it was.
I was telling a story about one night I was with some friends, some very, very successful friends down in Austin, Texas, and we're talking about drinking vodka and Red Bull together. Not that we would be doing that, of course, but
Hypothetically.
hypothetically, of course.
If you were to drink
If
vodka.
if I were to drink vodka and Red Bull,
Yeah.
he sat there and he said, he said, this cannot be good for us. He said, we're mixing an upper and a downer here. And he says, I know the answer to this. So I said, Ryan, what's that? He said, Diet Red Bull.
Diet.
And
Make all the difference.
And so David and I were talking about this all before we came on the air. And what did you say? You saw a study about the risk of heart attack?
Yeah, I told Charlie, I'm like, if you actually Google it, because there was a phase years ago where I was doing it, and then somebody, technically, I think it promotes a heart attack.
I believe it does.
Yes, so,
Red Bull alone.
Yeah, so I said,
think
if you
is
don't
unhealthy.
die, it's a really fun night out.
He's right.
Although maybe we were okay, because we used to go to this bar in Austin where basically they filled a tall one up with vodka. These guys didn't, it's out of business. I'm sure this owner went broke as much liquor as and then they basically just put enough Red Bull in there to color it.
Oh, to make it,
Gross.
And but anyway,
Wife used, not to interrupt, sorry.
Go ahead.
Wife used to work, Brittany used to work down at RC Cola down there by House of Como. And so they came out with these flavors, like the blue flavor, I think it was blue raspberry. She would bring home to me once in a while. And then there was a red cranberry, and they were actually really good. And I kind of miss those, the days when she brought them. I'd never bought one from a gas station, but yeah.
did you try it with vodka?
No, I didn't.
Okay.
But maybe 20, 25 years ago.
Okay.
Those were big, yeah.
Yes. So, David, we were talking recently about, in case you forgot, since we got way off the tracks, thank you, Candace, for getting us off in
We like it. You know,
the
I
wrong
try.
direction.
Yeah.
I had nothing to do with it, of course, with my laser focus. But anyway, David, of course, as we say, is the regional director for Churchill Mortgage. So, David, what are you seeing right now?
I see, based on where we were in 23, we are stabilizing just like I anticipated. I think we're going to bounce here in January and February and be stable. And then I think that rates will improve as we move into March a little bit more. And then 2024, still with the federal government, the Federal Reserve, I think we will see rate cuts and rates continue to trend downward and improve. It's that crystal ball, just with some of the stuff that has gone on recently in the Middle East, has kind of delayed some of that immediate gratification that I thought we were going to have right at the turn of the year. So we're not out of bounds. The beautiful thing is rates have came down from where we were in 23. Buyers are out there. People are getting pre-approved, and we talk about it each week. We don't have enough homes on the market, and I have people initially get in contact with me because maybe they got in contact with a realtor and they said, get pre-approved with David Crow. Right. And they start the discussion and they're like, well, we want to get pre-approved, but we're going to wait till rates go down to buy, which I show them mathematically and in quick illustrations, even what a 1% does to a monthly payment. And it's not hugely significant. If you find a home in today's market, you want to buy it. So the reality is many buyers who buy in 23, first part of 24, they are going to refinance again at the end of 24, first part of 25. They just are. Rates will move down significantly, and you are going to want to take advantage of those savings. So the beautiful thing is, the challenging thing, what I want to add to that, if you have that mindset of waiting, all you're going to do is wait and pull millions of other buyers across the nation into the marketplace as rates do go down. Mathematically, that's a fact. So all you're going to do is find yourself in a bidding war for a home later on and potentially pay more than you would if you're buying right now, January, February, March, and so forth.
By April, you probably, I would get, and I know,
yes.
I would guess you are going to be somewhat back to a couple years ago.
That's exactly what we're anticipating, the 2020 and 21, the bidding wars. What is it I'm seeing on all the memes and stuff, though? The pink and red Stanley Cups. If you think it's hard to get one of them, try buying a home in April or something.
Right.
Well, those memes are directing people that the market is going to shift again. Rates will move down, and it's going to bring more buyers into the market. So if you're thinking about buying a home, you need to be buying the home now. And we tell sellers all the time.
Do you agree, Jonathan?
I love hearing that. So
yes,
great news. Thanks for telling us that. So yes, we hope we do need the buyers, and we do need inventory. You're right.
Yeah, we need inventory in the right price ranges. We can get too high or the large inventories. And I was talking to one of our clients, Candace and I live for it, Chris Combs, the other day, and I was asking, because we do have things like 2-1 buy downs and things like that, but Chris is more in a luxury market, and he said that really doesn't do anything for me. He said, because my clients are all either cash or 6-figure down payments.
Yeah.
So he said, it really wouldn't help me.
The gimmick's there, but I don't want to say gimmick. It's not a gimmick. That's a wrong term to use. It's just an incentive.
Right.
And
Creative.
it's a creative incentive.
You want to explain that real quick about the 2-1 buy down?
So essentially, these lands. I'm getting some looks. So they 2-1 buy
Talk
down.
faster, David, not slower.
So 2-1 buy down is essentially if rates are at 6.5% today. Nationally, they are, and we prepay the interest. Is all you're doing. In the first year, we buy the interest rate down to, in my example, 4.5% for the first 12 payments. And then the second 13 through 24, we buy the interest rate down to 5.5. And then at the 25th through 30 year, if you will, it's back up to the original 6.5. What it does allow, it's just prepaid interest, and some sellers will help pay that. Actually, I won't go deep into that, but you want the seller to pay it. It doesn't help the buyer if they spend their own money to do this.
Right.
And so ultimately in that time frame, I've got mixed emotions on it because I know rates are going to go down even lower, but it does allow people, if they know their income's going to go up, if they know eventually they're going to refinance, it allows them to move into the house with a lower monthly payment for those first, 24 payments, if you will, of owning the home.
So you got someone like, we'll use a name here. They're not a client, so we can. Jago.
Yes.
They have a 3-2-1 buy down.
Yes.
But that's already factored in the price, correct?
Absolutely. It's factored into the price. That incentive is priced into the price of the home.
Right.
And I have a vast experience with Jago and the incentives. But the fact of the matter is, there's nothing wrong. And at the end of the day, it's all geared towards making the phone ring, causing people to walk in, get in front of them, figure out which angle is best in terms of that individual buyer situation. And people take advantage of the incentives. But yes, the incentives are built into the price of new construction there, which is why Chris Combs here locally is saying, I'm not building that in. I'm not advertising that. My buyer profile, it's just not something that would interest them.
Yeah.
Right.
At different price points. But other price points, when you're driving that monthly payment down, that's why those incentives are advantageous or feel good for that particular buyer.
In fact, Chris told me the other day that he has $13 million and up homes to build.
Poor guy.
And he said, I think Donnie Denton has basically the same amount.
Yeah, he and Donnie are great. Yeah. They really are.
But some people talk about the economy. That tells you right there, there's money out there.
Oh, there's money. Absolutely. Yeah. It's just different. Like you brought up in the beginning of this conversation, it's for the vast majority, it's getting the homes in the right price point.
Right.
What would you guys say? The 150 to 250?
I think so. Yeah. What do
Jonathan?
you guys, I'm seeing that being
Like, what's your biggest need? Like when you get a pre-approved buyer, but you can't find it.
So I just got a lead. They sent out leads at Tucker, and under 150 is that lead, but it's like, whoa.
Did they want to be a neighbor?
I think it's hard to find a house under 150.
Yeah.
It is.
And
Yeah.
That's used to be a great entry level home. Now you're bumping it up.
Well, Jonathan, I think everybody here has been realtors long enough. You take North Park, for example, those Guthrie May homes in North Park. We sold those. Like say an investor had bought one, rehabbed it, sell it for $79,900.
Right.
They made good money.
Yeah.
Those same homes are selling now for $170,000, $179,000, 1,000 square foot homes.
I almost thought that was the best deal in town, that North Park area, for a while, because it was the only area.
I agree. It's only under 100. That's what I used to say.
That was
under 100,000
nice
area left. It's the best under $100,000 area left.
Yeah.
But not anymore.
No.
But right before COVID, we sold one out there for an investor. They'd done a good job on it, and it was 129. And I looked in the MLS, and at the time, that was the highest it ever sold. It wasn't long before that record got broke once COVID hit. Because Kylena had brought something. We're going to get back to it, but I want to get with Jonathon here. I had to be downtown yesterday, and I ran into Jonathon, and he was carrying some Weaver for County Commissioner signs.
Yes.
And I said, what are you doing? And he was on his way in to file.
correct
for County Commissioner, correct?
That is correct. Yes. Yeah.
And the commissioners, I always look at them, and Cheryl Musgrave's a frequent guest on the show. I always look at them as the mayors of the county.
And that's probably the best way to look at it when you're explaining city and county government. Instead of, in the city we have one mayor, in the county you have basically three mayors. And then it's also maybe like city council a little bit, where we're the legislative body and the financial arm of the city. The county commissioners also legislate.
Right.
Decided to be in the executive branch.
So, Jonathon, can you, and some people I know don't understand this, and maybe you can explain that, the difference between the county commissioners and the county council.
Yeah, so the county council is that fiscal body of the county. So like that one piece of the city council. So the county council's job is budgets, appropriations and whatever, making sure keeping the commissioners in check and all the elected department heads. The mayor appoints the city department heads. In the county, most of the department heads are elected: assessor, auditor, treasurer, recorder, sheriff, prosecutor. Now, some are appointed by the commissioners, like the highway department as one, and solid waste. But those are the differences.
And in fact, for those that don't, our new mayor in Evansville, Stephanie Terry, was a county council member.
Correct.
And I think multiple terms, if I recall.
Yeah, I think she was
2
on
terms,
us,
maybe
3 terms, I believe. Yeah.
3? Was it 3? Okay.
She was there when I was assessor, and then
So it's been a little.
Yeah.
Time flies.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
I mean, the last 20 years, I just when I
And-
see myself on TV, I'm like, oh my God, look how I've aged. I look horrible. I feel great.
Yeah.
Work out.
And Jonathan, talking about TV, for those that are thinking, I think I remember him from TV. You were the weatherman here.
Correct. Yeah, that's what
I
brought me
did
there.
not know that until David brought that up.
Oh, yes. I remember Jonathan.
you
As he
don't
made
remember
the
that?
transition
No,
from.
I didn't remember that.
Were you
Yeah.
morning or evening?
I started weekends, and then I did morning. But
So you were early morning. So when I'm up drinking coffee, and then I watched Jonathan transition from the weather guy. And next thing I know, in my path, next thing I know, Jonathan's a realtor, and I'm like, oh, that's the guy who was doing the weather. And I think he did both for a little while.
I did about a year and a half, and then
Yeah.
full-time transition. So, I came on Groundhog Day, first time ever to Evansville in 2000. So we're about at 24 years ago, which I just cannot believe. I mean, I feel like I can remember every day between, today and back then. And
And what I don't remember, what channel were you on, Jonathan?
25.
25. That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah. So was Wayne Hart doing the evening then?
Oh, yeah. So,
Weather.
golly. So he was there 7 years at that point. So Wayne now is at 31
yeah.
years.
Yeah.
at
What
Channel
about when did
25.
Ron come over there?
Oh, let me think.
Ron Rowe.
5 to 10 years ago. So he was at 7.
That's
We're
the
all
thing.
set.
Yeah,
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
Because the evening lineup was
Yep.
Ron versus Wayne versus
Yep.
Jeff.
Yep.
So,
Yeah. Of course, Wayne got famous for predicting the tornado.
Yes.
Yeah.
Wayne went to Cornell, man. He has he knows his meteorology and severe weather. So
He
So
makes me a
Candace,
little
you didn't know
nervous.
do you know who Marcia Yaki was?
Oh yeah, I remember her. Yeah, I remember being a little girl and watching her. And
Oh,
she
we
was-
don't need this. We don't need the
Candace
little
was
girl.
like 2
commentary.
years old remembering her.
I really was.
I don't think she was born yet.
Yeah, I'm only 29, Charlie. So yeah,
You don't know who we're talking about, Marcia Yaki.
yeah.
Do you want me to
definitely
lie?
don't.
No.
She was a character.
Yeah.
So I heard it when I first moved here. They were like, "Man, Marsha this, Marsha that," and I'm getting compared to Marsha.
Marsha.
Listen to the
And then if you
I'm
look
like,
at some
wait.
old YouTube videos of her, you think, my golly.
It is kind
She
of.
was a hoot, yeah.
I was
Yeah,
gonna
she
say,
definitely was.
Ironically, I know we're on the radio, but of recent, I'm saying in the last 6-8 months, I feel like on social media, I've seen photographs or reels of Marsha popping
Yeah.
up, and it is kind of funny to think that. I mean, I just remember all the circles all over the board and the numbers, whatever the pressure and things, whatever it meant, but.
And she'd be telling you about Jan and Jim. They're going down to Florida. Now, about right here in Georgia, they're going to run into some rain, And,
He was a character, no question. Yes.
Kind of like the Bob Ross of news. Like she's going to paint you a pretty picture.
Bro.
No, she was the character. She was.
Yeah.
She
and was known
yeah.
for being accurate.
Well,
Yeah.
14 has a history of. I grew up in New Jersey, and the noon news my mom would watch out in New York. So I guess Lloyd Lindsay Young at
Really?
some point in
I
time
remember Lloyd
started
Lindsay,
at 14 or was at 14.
Yes.
And my mom loved watching him in New York.
Really?
I mean, he was a hoot in New York.
And
when I moved here,
different time back then.
when I move here, come to find out, Lloyd Lindsay Young was here.
Yeah.
I guess we need to pay some bills, don't we, Jordan? And we haven't even let the ladies talk yet.
Marsha.
Oh, right.
We said our piece.
So-
I'll sit here and look pretty. It's
So, and of course, it's Charlie Butler Show is brought to you by David Crow and Churchill Mortgage. Again, as we say every week, you hear right before us, Dave Ramsey's on, and you hear Dave every day of the week talking about Churchill Mortgage.
Every
and
day.
it has been for over 25 years.
Amen.
And those folks down in Tennessee, in Brentwood, they're great. But if you want local service, that's not the number to call. What's the number to call,
Folks,
David?
give me a call. Easiest way, 270-222-0676.
You want to give them quickly the area that you
Folks,
cover?
I'm licensed and I do loans, especially with Churchill, because I have so many people, Dave Ramsey followers, all over the state of Kentucky, all over the state of Indiana. So it's not just here locally, but I've obviously with the realtor community, I try to focus my attention to the local folks in southern Indiana and western Kentucky. I am licensed in the state of Florida, But those refinance days, when that hits, that'll be something to talk about. But I advocate. But yes, anywhere in the state of Indiana and the state of Kentucky, I can help you with a home loan and get you in that home.
And Kylena, you were wanting to talk about investments.
Yes, like what was your worst? Like if you ever made a bad investment.
Oh yeah.
Or
we don't have that much time.
So maybe that'll be a teaser for next next time.
And I think all of us here, have made bad investments at times, and
maybe a good investment. Should we talk about a good investment instead?
Yeah,
Can you name one quick investment that was good?
Keller Williams by Charlie Butler.
Keller Williams was an excellent investment for me. Some of the best investments over the years, and including the people that are there now, are the people on my team.
Yeah.
I mean, there's some excellent, you, Candace, and we go back to Jenny McBride, Mindy, the late Mike Mall, and I don't want to leave. I better quit naming because that, I'm going to forget somebody. So, and many, many others. But we're getting close on time, and I wanted to talk to Jonathon a little bit here. Jonathon, so why are you running for commissioner?
Oh, it's something I've been looking at for a while. There's something addicting about politics in terms of it's so satisfying to help people. And
right.
It's kind of what I miss now, not being on city council, getting those calls. Hey, can you help me with this? I got a pothole over here. My neighbor's a nuisance over here. It's fun to help everybody and solve their problems. Is
there anything in particular that you're looking at that you would like to try to affect some change as a commissioner? Yeah,
I mean, the location of Evansville, we want to still be a strong economic driver, keep the economy strong, and we want to make sure we have keep up a strong law enforcement, support law enforcement, make sure streets are paved, quality of life projects. We want to make sure we keep those up for the family. They're expanding nicely out in the county. Keep those parks up, and
right.
So
I know that was in. As you know, I'm an RPAC trustee, one of the people that decides where the money goes for our local candidates. And probably one of the things, and you were interviewed, so it's time, so you also heard this, one of the things that hit on the most were the parks. Randy Foles, as Randy he asked it every time, he said, because talking about how bad Mesker Amphitheater looked. Oh. He said, we're going to put we're going to put the mayor and all the city council people's pictures right up over Mesker Amphitheater. So there's a cemetery out there. See, so when people are taking their last ride, they know why this looks so bad. and nobody had an answer. I mean, I thought, and not because I work with, I thought Joe Kratochville had the best answer was a public-private partnership, like with a Deaconess or with a Berry or someone like that could come in and inject some money.
I tell you, the zoo director back in 2012, Amos Morris was the zoo director, and he had a plan, and the rest of the council shot it down. He wanted a nice venue for concerts, but it's just not. Hey, let's get out there as a group of realtors and let's paint this weekend and take a dust pan and broom. I mean, it's a $20 million plus project. It's probably the number one issue to get it ADA compliant.
I was going to say, how would you get that? I mean, I remember going to concerts here. I don't know how you get that ADA compliant.
Well, it's a total tear out.
It would have to be.
That's why it's going to cost so much, and that's why there's not a plan. And every time Brittany goes to the zoo and looks at the penguins, right behind the penguins, you hear in the wind is the flapping metal roof. That's probably going to hurt somebody someday if it blows off. It's scary.
And I realized that as Natalie Razor, I remember when she answered the question, she said, well, we got budgets, we have to stay within. And I know if you're elected commissioner, I know another person, as you know too, Cheryl Musgrave is a big parks advocate. I mean, Cheryl's been, big on Burdette, right. And I'm sure that she would, be with you on this.
Yes.
So assuming she gets reelected, which at the last I heard, she didn't even have an opponent.
So I think there's somebody, I can't think of the name right now, but
okay. Yeah. This is 2 weeks in a row. Candace has been so quiet over
I know. I'm listening. Well, because I wasn't real sure what. Whenever you were talking about the campaign and stuff, I wasn't sure what the roles were. So It was interesting.
Learning.
Yeah, I'm learning.
The county.
Right. I did not know all of that.
Yeah.
So,
until I got involved, I didn't know either.
And
it was county council, city council, commissioners, mayor. You're like, what? Why are we paying all these
many
people?
of those when it becomes
there's a reason.
personal,
Right.
it becomes important.
Right.
So you
Yeah.
just haven't had to call anyone up and complain.
I have
and so
not.
forth. So
Right.
you're
Yeah.
And
Now I
nice
know who to
person.
call.
Yes. Jonathan Weaver. Give him a call.
And the public-private partnerships, I'm sure not a lot of people know this. I know you guys, I've told you guys this, but the site that Jonathan used to be over was as the assessor. When Cheryl Musgrave put that site together, the county would not fund it. And she came to the realtors.
Crazy to think of, right?
Yeah, it is. And the county wouldn't spend $50,000 with what, and the realtors did with one caveat that they could never charge for it.
Yep.
Here was what the strange thing was. The counties around started talking then. We thought, okay, we need to offer to the other counties. And it was going to be like $15,000 to get something basic for everybody back then. Most of them turned us down, that they didn't want a site. I mean, I can remember going to Gibson County, and these ladies, it was just like in the movies, they'd open these old books, and the dust would fly out. And they were about 100 years old, too. 2 minutes to go. Does anybody?
Yeah,
Carlina?
I want to. So, do you feel like your journey to where you're at now and what you're doing with your campaign? Do you feel like being involved in the community with the weather, and then being a realtor where you're out on those streets with those potholes and you're hearing what people are saying about, ooh, I don't want to live over there. I mean, would you say it's safe that impacted like your campaign now?
Oh, yes. I think I'm one of the few candidates that
Like you get it, like
office
you've
holders
seen
that
it.
beat
Been-
the streets every
Right.
day, know
Right.
what's going on.
Like you don't just know your neighborhood, but you know
Right, I
this.
know.
You're in the
Yeah.
community.
Right.
Right.
I think any realtor that's been elected or currently elected, like Joe Kiefer, Missy Mosby.
Missy.
I mean,
And Joe is
we-
not running again. I just saw Joe. I
Yeah.
saw Joe the other day. He's telling me how bad his son needs money. I said, Joe, but he told me he always said the same thing about every year. Every time he runs, Joe would say, "Look, just contribute." I said, "Joe, you're running unopposed." I said, "I'm not in the habit of giving money to people who are running unopposed." Okay. He goes, "You never know about those write-ins." I said, "I'm pretty sure, Joe, you'll
He's
beat
so
the."
likable. I love Joe.
Yeah, Joe's a good guy. We're running out of time, guys. David, how can everybody get a hold of you?
Folks, David Crow, 270-222-0676.
So some of the lowest mortgage rates around, Churchill Mortgage. You hear them on Dave Ramsey, but call David Crow's number. Kylena, how can I get a hold of you?
It's 812-746-2954. And don't forget about our instant cash offer.
Yes.
For if you're looking to sell your home, we can kind of make that process smooth, whether you need a cash offer now or need to sell.
And because you just sold one, it pops up top of my head in, 3 days?
Yeah.
Something like that. We can make that happen for you.
Either way.
Or we can buy it. Either
Right.
one. We have an instant cash offer now. We have a cash offer, quick close within 48 hours. Jonathan's with FC Tucker. Hurts me to say that, but he is.
We're all friends.
But Jonathan, how anybody interested in real estate, how can they get a hold of you?
Oh, well, thank you. 812-568-0562. And then that's also if you have campaign questions. And, I know enough people still, if you have pothole issues or whatever, rat
Right.
issues, stuff I used to deal with on a daily basis, we can still hook you up with
Yeah.
a solution.
And we got to talk about this quick, I know, but there is a rat person down there.
Yeah.
Isn't there? There's a person that's their job. In case you ever get tired of real estate, Candace.
Oh, if I am looking for a new career path, rat person.
Yeah.
is-
I forget what
on the
I
list.
forget what they call them, but once Wayne Kirsch, rest his soul, had a house listed that Tim Mull was interested in. Wayne goes, "There's a bad rat problem, but the rat woman, it was a woman in charge then, was going to come down there and was going to get rid of those." And so, but there's a person that's their
Yeah.
job, isn't it, John?
Hand out rat abatement chunks or whatever it is. And you can go down to Civic Center and they'll give you one.
Charlie, do you remember whenever I found out what the little boxes were whenever we were selling those apartments?
I forgot about that.
Yeah. And I was like, what are these little boxes everywhere? Yeah. And she said, those are rat traps. I'm like, oh, there's rats.
Yeah, we could
Yeah.
we could do a whole show on those apartments. But,
Yes, we could.
Yeah, talk about someone's bad investment. There. Candace, how can they get a hold of you?
They can reach me at 812-455-6338 on my cell phone number, or they can call the team phone, and that is 812-430-1708.
Way to go! You got both of them right this time. Jordan, we got any time left for me to harass you? None,
No
huh?
time. He's got no time.
So Jordan is still not married, to the best of our knowledge. The soon-to-be Mrs. Jordan, start putting the pressure on him. He really wants to. Okay. So for David Crow, Kylena Page, Jonathan Weaver, and thank you again, Jonathan. Candace DeArmond, Jordan Rose, the big Glover boy. This is Charlie Butler. Have a great Sunday.
You've got real estate questions but don't know where to get the answers? Tune in here every Sunday morning at 9 a.m. as Charlie Butler, Evansville's own real estate expert, shares the latest news, info, and insider tips to help you make smart real estate decisions. Find him online at charliebutlerteam.com. This program has been paid for by the Charlie Butler team. From the Kate Foppel Ford Studios, this is Newstalk 1280 WGBF.